Well, Father John, I'm delighted, and you really have done just tremendous work, which I'm very eager to hear a lot about. But I'm actually now much more interested in hearing about you, your faith journey, your vocational journey.
Mm.
I read an article on Aletheia that how God kind of barged into your life, which I thought was extremely well done. Tell us, how did Father John get to be where you are now in faith?
Wow, I love that question because there's so many different ways to answer it. Maybe I'll answer it in three ways.
Hmm.
One was what I would consider a supernatural gift from my childhood. One was my mom and dad, and then one was some folks I met when I was in college. So the supernatural gift is I think I have the supernatural gift of faith, by which I simply mean from my earliest memories, I've just known God. I've prayed since I was conscious, at least so far as I can recall. I've
Hmm.
never known a time in my life when I didn't know God. I did not always live a Christian life, so that's actually worse. I wish I could say, you know, I had this massive conversion where I came to know God and I changed who I was living. That's not true. I had a massive conversion where I stopped prepenting because that's what I used to do. I used to prepent because I always knew God. I used to say,
What a great
"Father, forgive
word.
me for what I'm about to do," which is not a good way to live, you know, because I just always knew Him. Yeah, from my childhood, I've prayed, and the Lord has just been beyond merciful and gracious to me for the 59 years of my life so far. Second, I had incredible parents. They're passed away now. They were married for 66 years. My dad was the
Wow.
greatest man I've ever known. Taught me everything about faith, about prayer, about scripture, about what it meant to be a man. He was a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, best leader I've ever known. Um, just a remarkable guy who I saw every night before he went to bed on his knees praying, and every morning reading scripture before he would go to work.
Oh.
And so, as a young boy, I was the youngest of five kids. I just watched my dad, and I'm like, well, I want to be a great man, so I should be like him. I should pray. I should read scripture. I should do the things that I see my dad doing. And then my mom was a convert. She became Catholic right after John Paul was elected pope, and she had been a Methodist. And I think we were watching one of his first visits to the United States. And I remember I was in the living room with her and my dad and my brother. And she turned to my dad after watching John Paul talk and said something as simple as, "I have no more objections to the Catholic Church." And then came in and then was just an amazing model for me as well. So the two of them watered the seed that I think God planted in me from my youth. And then when I went to college, I met people my own age who I think for the first time really gave me the courage to be able to act on what I knew I should have been doing all along, but I needed peers like everybody else.
Hmm.
And I met some remarkable men and women in a campus ministry when I was at the University of Michigan, and they just really inspired me and enabled me to sell out. And I've been starting my conversion then, and I'm still going through it.
So, what about vocation to priesthood? That came later, then, as an
It
adult.
did. It came after I got out of college. I had been part of an ecumenical brotherhood when I was in college. I had almost gotten married. Then I was part of a ecumenical brotherhood for a little bit, and then I left them. I thought the Lord was calling me to be single, but at the same time, there was something that was missing there. I know what it was now. It was priesthood. Went to work after I got out of school. Was out for maybe 3 years or so. Was empty as all get out. Was dating again, was just terribly unfulfilled. All I knew was I had a raving desire to be great and to sell out for God. I just didn't know what that meant. And one day I was at my office at work and I would read the Bible at lunch. And I opened up the Bible I just did one of those random things, which I don't do very often, but I did that day. And I opened up to Matthew 19, where Jesus says, some men are born incapable of marriage. Some men are made incapable of marriage by others, and some men make themselves incapable of marriage for the sake of the kingdom. He who can accept it should accept it. And as soon as I read that, it, It was literally one of those times where it felt like the words were jumping off the page.
Mm.
And I almost threw my Bible on the ground. I was so angry. I'm like, "I don't understand. Like, what are you asking of me?" I thought of getting married, that left me, unfulfilled. I thought of living single for you, that left me unfulfilled. What do you want? And out of nowhere, I just heard a very loud internal voice that said, "John, I'm inviting you to live single and to do it as a priest." And at the time, I wasn't even going to church. I was praying every day. I was reading scripture, but I wasn't going to church, at least not every week. And so my immediate response was, I don't want to do that, Lord, but I think that's you. So if that's you, you have to give me a desire for that. And that took a day. Like I literally woke up the next day with this raving desire to be a priest. I'm like, this makes no sense at all. I don't know what priests do. I knew like two priests that I thought anything of. I didn't know where you went. Quit my job, went to seminary, and I've been thrilled ever since. I love this life.
How many years are you a priest now, if I may ask?
28.
28. Tremendous. And you have had such a huge impact on so many people. Isn't it amazing how God works, though?
Oh,
Despite our
nothing's
best
wasted.
laid plan, right? Right? Again, you, like so many of our other great guests, have highlighted the importance of family and parents, information. I mean, that's the seedbed of so many things that many of our younger parents are struggling with because they're swimming in an ocean that's not friendly, right?
Yeah.
And then peers to find like-minded individuals. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that.